Hello, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see from the title, I'm going to be reacting to all of my Euro 2024 qualifier predictions for match days 1 and 2. At the time I'm uploading this, the international break has just finished, but for this video in specific, I'm going to be recording after each and every day of the international break for the Euro 2024 qualifiers. Although it says there are 2 match days, overall it spreads to 5 days in total. And at the time I'm recording this one, we have only seen the first set of matches, 8 matches in total, and you know what? So far, this has been a pretty successful day, which is why I'm in high spirits now. We'll obviously see what happens later on, but let me show you what I mean right now. Before we start with this video, please, if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and yeah, let's get into the first match. Kazakhstan versus Slovenia. I could see us finishing in a narrow draw, or Slovenia scraping through. Won't be surprised if Kazakhstan pick up the 3 points themselves, but I'm going to say Slovenia are able to start off strong. They grab a 1-0 win against Kazakhstan. Look, I knew Kazakhstan would put off a fight. And to their credit, they were up in the first half. Just off of one opportunity, although Slovenia had several. But then Slovenia pulled through at the end. They still got a narrow win, just not the exact scoreline I predicted. I thought Sheshko would get on the score sheet. I guess I was wrong, but you know what? I'm happy the other Slovenians pulled through. Just shows that they really can be a complete side. So best of luck to them in the future. Very happy to see one ex-Yugo nation already grab a win. So leave my tally of points at the bottom here. I'll show how many matches I got right in terms of win, draws, and losses, and how many I got wrong. So yeah, I'm still going to count this as a correct prediction despite the scoreline being slightly off, as at the end, I predicted Slovenia to win. But yeah, let's move forward to Slovakia versus Luxembourg. Slovakia easily looked to be the better side on paper here, but as you've seen through recent history, there seems to be somewhat of a pattern here. I'm going to say Slovakia somewhat choke. They're only able to grab 1 point. It finishes in a 1-1 draw between the two countries. Again, exact scoreline was off, but the outcome was correct. It finished in a draw. No goals were scored, however. I knew Slovakia would have a disappointing start, to be honest. Luxembourg, for one, is an extremely underrated side, and there's no way they're not stirring up this group a little bit, whether or not they qualify for the Euros. And Slovakia really were not looking in confident form from the Nations League. Last World Cup qualifiers, they had a rocky start, drawing with Malta, who you can argue are even more of underdogs than Luxembourg. It's obviously disappointing that Slovakia couldn't grab a win at home, but as you see, I'm really not surprised. Now we're taking a look at one of the biggest matches on match day 1, Italy versus England. Obviously, the Euro finalists coming up against each other once again. Although we obviously could see England come out on top on this match is being played in Naples, so I'm saying it finishes in a 2-2 draw. This one is extremely frustrating, man. First of all, bravo to England for grabbing an away win against Italy. What many people argue to be their kryptonite in football, as they couldn't beat them in the Euro finals, as they couldn't beat them in the Nations League, but now they have done it away. Incredible. You can fact check me if I'm wrong on this, but I think this might be the first time England have won away against Italy in over 60 years. But I'm obviously so gutted that I got this prediction wrong. It finishes 2-1 for England, and I felt even more confident on this prediction once I saw Luke Shaw get a red card. I thought the script would come to life. Italia would make the comeback, but no. Shout out to Harry Kane for redeeming himself for his reputation on penalties for his country, as he missed the last one against France. Italy were missing Chiesa, which is obviously a huge loss, but it's no excuses. England were also missing some of their star men that have been wonderful this season. But now moving on to Denmark versus Finland. Could we see Pukki come in clutch? We see him do it so many times for his national team. I'm saying maybe he's able to score a goal, or someone else does, but Denmark still grabbed the 3 points at the end. It's going to finish 2-1 for Denmark. What an intense match. I thought I would get this scoreline on the dot correct, but of course, Højlund has to complete his hat-trick in the dying minutes, getting his last goal in the 93rd. Denmark are back. They love this competition. They've won it in 1992. They had a very deep run last time around, making it all the way to the semifinals. This is going to be a massive ego boost for them to top this group. They should. They have the quality. Why not? Best of luck to Denmark. Now taking a look at Portugal versus Liechtenstein. Portugal, clear favorites here. Roberto Martinez's first match in charge. I think he's going to go out big here. I'm saying Portugal grab a 6-0 win. With no surprise at all, Portugal absolutely dominated Liechtenstein in the stats. 35 shots, 11 on target, 83% possession. Now taking a look at San Marino versus Northern Ireland. San Marino have not gotten a competitive win at all in their entire history. Can they do so against a very much struggling Northern Ireland? This could be an opportunity for San Marino to break history here, but I'm saying it doesn't happen. Northern Ireland grab a 2-0 win against San Marino. Finally, a scoreline correct. There are a few people thought Northern Ireland would score even more goals against San Marino. But hey, they pulled up a valiant effort, I guess, but Northern Ireland still coming up on top regardless. And in terms of my record for getting wins, losses, and draws correct, this is my 5th one right out of 6. Now for Macedonia versus Malta. I'm saying Macedonia grab a clean 3-0 win against Malta. We'll see how well that ages. Bravo to Macedonia and shout out to Malta for putting off a great fight. I thought Macedonia would obviously do a lot better, but Malta were fighting till the end. They got an 85th minute goal, making the final scoreline 2-1. All the goals were in the second half as well. Considering Macedonia were the home side, I really thought they'd do better in this, but still, a win is a win. Although Malta are definitely not the favorites in this matchup, Macedonia needs to grab all the points they can. As yeah, this group's very tough. They had to at least win this one. Now taking a look at Bosnia versus Iceland. Will Faruk Hadzibegic struggling his first match in charge. I'm a bit skeptical about this guy, I'll be honest. But regardless, they're playing at home. I would not be surprised if this match finishes in a draw, but I'm going to be hopeful for Bosnia and say they can do it. I'm going to say they grab a 2-1 win. What a massive win for Bosnia. What an absolute confidence boost as well. 3-0 with their new fresh manager that so many people doubted, including me. Where yes, Bosnia did lack some possession at home, but they were still much more clinical. We saw an absolute golazo from Amar Dedic and a Krunic brace. Respect the fact that they did this without Aiden Dzeko as well. My favorite win, of course, today. This is one where I was very happy to be proven wrong in terms of Faruk Hadzibegic. I knew he was able to get a win. Just didn't think it'd be this steep. I thought it would be a lot more narrow. Solid start, like I said, for the first 8 matches that have happened on this first day. I got 7 out of 8 correct. This is a pretty easy start, though, to be fair. I did make some interesting calls later on. So let's see what happens. Alright, right off the bat, day 2 did not go as well as day 1 did. Now for Bulgaria versus Montenegro. What an underrated matchup here. The Balkan nations competing. This one's a flip of a coin, man. I gotta be rooting for Montenegro. You know I always try to root for the ex-Yugo countries. I think this one will finish in a draw. A disappointing one, in fact. 0-0. Truly hope I'm wrong. Either Crna Gora, but that's what I'm sticking with. Crna Gora! So happy they proved me wrong, of course. I was close. It was narrow. They grabbed a 1-0 win away. And who was the hero? Nikola Krstovic in the 70th minute. Like I said, very happy to see Montenegro prove me wrong on this prediction. And even on my overall table prediction. I said they were going to get 4th. Well, obviously, that's still up for the cards. But right now, it's looking pretty likely that they can at least secure 3rd. Bulgaria definitely with the rough start. This was kind of a must-win as they were the home side. Maybe they still can bounce back, but I don't know. Crna Gora seems to be the more powerful side at the moment. Next up, Gibraltar versus Greece. Gibraltar, probably the most slept-on team in this group. Look at all the quality this group possesses. Greece with a lot of confidence now also after topping their Nations League group. This match should be no problem for them. I'm saying they grab a 4-0 win against Gibraltar. If only Greece scored 1 more goal, man. Of course, I'm not going to beat myself up about this. Very similar scoreline prediction to what I had. But hey, a win is a win for Greece. I'm sorry, Gibraltar, but I do think you're going to go 0 for 10 in all of this. Maybe you can squeeze a draw, but yeah, all these teams just look too strong in this group. Moldova versus Faroe Islands. The Faroe Islands just love to go for those crazy score lines, and they have impressed many times. They've even upset Turkey in the Nations League. I'm saying the Faroe Islands can come out on top on this, but they will concede some goals. I'm going for an interesting 4-2 scoreline. Damn, the Faroe Islands have seemed to lose their spark a little bit. They grabbed a draw against Moldova. Of course, not the end of the world. Very good fight from Moldova. But Faroe Islands held on to that lead for a while. They just blew it in the dying minutes, conceding a penalty. A tough one to get wrong, as this now puts me at 1 for 3. In terms of predictions correct on day 2. Now for Serbia versus Lithuania. With Serbia playing at home, with the quality they possess, and no disrespect to Lithuania, they very much should be grabbing a win here. Serbia are able to grab a 3-0 victory against Lithuania. Again, just like the Greece-Gibraltar match, just 1 off in terms of the scorelines, but hey, Serbia still grabbed the win. Some fans I'm seeing are complaining that it still wasn't enough, but you know what? 3 points is 3 points. Tadic's goal was a brilliant team play. Dusan Vlahovic getting on the score sheet as well. Sure, they were looking fearful at times, but this is still a magnificent start for Serbia. Now for Austria versus Azerbaijan. Ralf Rangnick has really done a solid job so far since he's taken over. Obviously, getting relegated in the Nations League, but in a difficult group. I'm saying Austria is still able to grab a 2-0 win. Bravo Austria, off to a flying start, scoring 4 goals against Azerbaijan. Very unfortunate for Sabitzer, as after he got his brace, he received an injury in this match. Hopefully that doesn't hurt them later on. We'll see. I think that match between them and Sweden is going to be very heated, and that deciding factor as to who's going to automatically qualify for Euro 2024. Now for Sweden versus Belgium, very interesting match here. Obviously, Belgium had a very disappointing World Cup, and a lot of arguments broke down in the dressing room. Lukaku, despite having his clutch moment in the Champions League against Porto, has been quite underwhelming this season. He also obviously costed Belgium their placement in the knockout rounds, having a terrible performance against Croatia. Sweden also not going through a very confident run on form. They did get relegated in the Nations League. This is a really tough one to call. I could see it going either way. I do think Belgium will carry on strong for the rest of the qualifiers, but for the first match day, I'm going to say they go through an early upset. I'm saying Sweden are able to grab a 1-0 win against Belgium here. Jesus, obviously I am not surprised I got this prediction wrong. I'm very well aware I was going for an upset. Both these teams before this match were looking to be in pretty bad form. Belgium crashing out of the group stage with a horrendous Lukaku display, and now he grabs a hat-trick in this match. Beautiful bounce back. He has had his moments, obviously, but still arguably not in peak condition, and he very much was here. What a beautiful way to come back for the national team. I shouldn't have doubted him, as he always loves to pull through in the qualifiers. I knew he would later on. I just thought this would simply be Belgium's first and only slip in the qualifiers. Maybe now they can go with a bang, grab only wins. Obviously, Belgium's golden generation is disintegrating, but there are some other youngsters pulling through. I was surprised that Bas didn't start, but that was clearly the right move, as the likes of Diatte and Fayes were very solid. Diatte also with that incredible goal line clearance. I really thought that play was going to go Sweden's way. Despite Lukaku getting a hat-trick, personally, my favorite player to watch in that match was Luke Bacchio. His incredible skills and vision were very present, even providing Lukaku 2 assists. Yeah, bravo to Belgium. Obviously, probably our most embarrassing prediction, but I had to go for one upset at least, and that was mine. Now for Czech Republic versus Poland. These two sides are the favorites to automatically qualify for the Euros in their group. Santos starting off with somewhat of an obstacle at his first match in charge. You can argue he might not have enough time to quickly adapt. Pretty much of a flip of a coin matchup. You can argue that Poland have so much quality on there, but still, you never know with this nation. Sometimes they randomly do slip, and Czech Republic are not one to mess with. They randomly have their spurts of hope. But I'm still saying Poland are able to get the best out of this match. I'll say it finishes 2-1. Poland grab an away win here. Oh god, I thought I was safe for at least a little bit, but we're already diving into another terrible prediction by me. Czech Republic demolishing Poland 3-1. What a terrible start for Santos. 2 goals in the first 3 minutes of the match as well. Wow, what a massive win for Czech Republic. They could be en route to grabbing first place themselves, but of course it's not too late for Poland to bounce back. They really caught Poland off guard. I mean, after those 3 minutes, that could have been one of the worst managerial starts for international football we have ever seen. All the praise to Czechia, but geez, what a low blow for Poland. Lewandowski was also pretty underwhelming in that match. That's not the first time he was underwhelming for Poland. What a brilliant striker. But sometimes with the national team, he doesn't necessarily pull through to expectation. Now for another incredible matchup on paper, France versus Netherlands. I'm obviously torn about this one, 50-50 without a doubt. But I'm going to say France are able to grab a narrow 2-1 win. I'm telling you, these two sides you can argue are the best in Europe. So really, won't be surprised if it goes either way. May the best one win. At least I got the winner right, but damn, Netherlands got obliterated by France 4-0. What a rough start. They were looking to be in some very solid form. Their last loss was in the World Cup to Argentina, sure, but so were France's in the same fashion. Both losing on penalties. Before the Netherlands were looking to be the most informed team in Europe. Clearly, Van Gaal's departure has halted this side a little bit, as the back line randomly for the Dutch just looked absolutely lost. Obviously, they should be pulling through later on, but no goals scored, 4 conceded. Terrible, terrible start for the Dutch. The only thing this leaves me a little bit hopeful for, and maybe this could age terribly, of course, but maybe now Croatia actually have a solid shot at making it to the final of the Nations League. Netherlands look to be such a tough opponent, but conceding 4, even against a top team like France, is just not a good look. Now for Scotland versus Cyprus. I wrote off Scotland in my standing predictions, but this is Cyprus. Sure, some people are saying don't count out this side either, but I truly think they got paired in a very difficult group. Group filled with way too much quality, and Scotland should grab 3 points in this. I'm saying they grab a 2-0 win. Again, just 1 goal off from getting this prediction right. It finishes 3-0, and of course it's due to the fact that Scott McTominay scores a very late brace, his last goal being in the 93rd minute. Now for Israel versus Kosovo. This first match I am saying Israel pull through, and I'm saying it finishes in a 3-2 thriller, going Israel's way. Best of luck to Kosovo, though. Will Kosovo prove me wrong? And I'm very happy about that. They grabbed a 1-1 draw away and that's massive because I'm telling you, for both of these sides, they have an incredible home ground. Now for Armenia versus Turkey. Why are these sides in the same group? Regardless, it's happening, and it is being played in Armenia. Turkey, on paper, are the better side here, but I've already discussed their inconsistencies. This match is obviously going to be filled with loads of intensity, but I'm going to say both teams are left disappointed here, and it finishes in a 2-2 draw. I still think Turkey have what it takes to pick themselves up, but maybe we'll just have a rough start. Okay, I know I got no one wrong, but I was close on that scoreline, man. To be honest, Turkey barely held on to that lead. They barely beat Armenia away. I had a feeling their new coach would be up to something for their first match, and he nearly grabbed at least a point against a tough Turkish side. I'm not really surprised I got this wrong, to be honest. I mean, obviously, Turkey are the favorites on paper in this. I just thought Armenia would have a little bit of fire in them, slow them down. Turkey are randomly halted at the most random moments. Despite them topping their Nations League group, they still had some interesting matches that did not go their way. And obviously, after everyone hyped them up to do well in the Euros, be the dark horse of the tournament, they were the most disappointing side. So I'm just never going to be surprised if I get a Turkey prediction wrong. Fair play to them for proving me wrong, of course. We'll see if Armenia can bounce back from this. Now for Belarus versus Switzerland, I'll say Switzerland have a flying start and they're able to win 5-0. Sorry, Belarus. Let's go! Finally! I mean, after getting so many of these massive scorelines just one goal off, like Greece and Gibraltar, Scotland, Cyprus, I get Switzerland, Belarus correct. 5-0, my second scoreline correct in this prediction video. Jeez. No Shaqiri, no problem. Stefan grabs an early hat trick. Bravo to the Swiss. I'd be really surprised if they don't top this group, to be honest. But now moving on to Spain versus Norway. Pretty tough one to call. Of course, Spain are the favorites here, but with some of Norway's players that have been looking to be in incredible form, they could pull an upset here. But Spain have just appointed a new manager, Luis de la Fuente, and the squad could be comfortable with him as he's had a lot of experience with the youth sides. Spain are the favorites to top this group. It's going to be a difficult fleet though, and they definitely will be halted at times. And I'm going to say they are at the beginning. Not a win for Norway, but they're only able to grab 1 point. It finishes 1-1 between both sides. Yeah, to be honest, I recorded and edited this video with me totally disregarding Holland's injury during the FA Cup, which had him missing this international break. So as soon as I was corrected by you guys for that, I knew I was going to get this prediction wrong. No Holland, no party against Spain, especially away. The chances were just looking so low. Even with the likes of Sorloth being in fantastic form, I just wasn't able to see it. Joselu grabbed 2 late goals as well. There was a questionable call not going Norway's way on the penalty. Odegaard even had to say about that against Rodri. Norway, I hate to say it, are the master bottlers in international football. So hopefully they can turn things around. I still had them at second in my table. Yeah, we'll have to see what they're made of later on. Now for Croatia versus Wales. Croatia are known to have their slips randomly. Despite always pulling through at the end, they could very much slip whenever against any of these teams, even though they look like the favorites to top this group. Wales are definitely going to be going through a bit of a rebuild. A lot of their players have retired. Gareth Bale being the biggest name out of the bunch. Of course, they have some youngsters still there, but I do think it will take some time for them to kind of regain that identity. And I'm saying Croatia pull through at home. They're able to win 2-0. Hrvatska, every international qualifier, even in the last Nations League, they love to upset in the first match. They lost to Slovenia in the last World Cup qualifiers 1-0 on the opening match day. In the Nations League, despite them losing to Austria 3-0 at the beginning, they still topped their group. I knew Croatia would go through a slip at the very beginning, but I thought it would be to Turkey in the next match day. I did not think they'd bottle it to Wales. I simply thought they'd be struggling in their first match back after the World Cup, after being so disappointing there, after losing Bale. What a ridiculous thought, I guess. I mean, the last goal they scored was an absolute fluke from Croatia, from a long throw-in from Wales. Of course, Kramarić's outside-the-foot goal was an absolute beauty in that match. But too many squandered opportunities later on. To be fair, I guess we got unlucky after Ivan Perisic also hit the post after a beauty strike from a ridiculous angle. Nathan Broadhead scoring that 93rd minute goal at the end though. But damn, what a terrible way to blow that match. Right after Modric got subbed off as well. Croatia were the home side as well. That's what made me think they were not going to bottle this. Shout out to Wales. Congratulations to you guys. But I'm pissed about this. Understandably so, to be honest. Now for Andorra versus Romania. I've written off Romania in my other prediction videos, but in this matchup in specific, I'm saying that they start off very strong here. I'm going to say that they're able to grab a 4-0 win against Andorra. And yeah, for that last match, I thought Romania would go out with more of a bang, but they only scored 2 goals. Fair play, though. Still got that outcome right. But this day 3 was a disaster. I got 3 out of 7 matches correct. 1 scoreline correct, I guess. But I squandered that Spain-Norway match, especially after neglecting Holland's injury. Along with Turkey, Armenia, just decided to go for a bit of a twist. But nope, the interesting twist had to happen for Croatia against Wales. Which means I have a 60% prediction accuracy right now. What a shocking start. Matchday 2 now. Holy crap, we're already starting off with a massive match. Kazakhstan versus Denmark. Kazakhstan playing 2 home fixtures in this. I said they would lose in the last one, but can they redeem themselves against the mighty Denmark? Unfortunately, no. In my opinion, love to see them prove me wrong. I'm going to say they grab an away 3-0 win. So despite Hoyun grabbing 5 goals in just 2 matches during this international break for his nation, Kazakhstan pull off a ridiculous comeback. They were 2-0 up for majority of the match, but then in the 73rd minute, they conceded a penalty, and then Tagi Bergen probably scores the nicest goal during this international break. Simply a beauty. No chance for Kasper Schmeichel. Then Ibetov scores in the 89th minute from a beautiful header. What an absolute fight this nation put. A massive upset, and that's not me discrediting Kazakhstan, it's just because everybody rates Denmark so highly. Even after their terrible World Cup performance, everyone was still expecting this side to secure first place in this group. Well, Kazakhstan definitely shifted things around. Sure, it's obviously possible that Denmark still grabbed first, but definitely made things more interesting. The absolute fighting spirit from this nation. Let's see if they can keep it up. I'm not upset I got this prediction wrong, to be honest. It's a beauty to see moments like this. No one expected this. What an absolute comeback after Denmark had such a solid lead. At the time of this recording, this was simply the match of the Euro 2024 qualifiers in this international break. Simply the best, out of the best. Thank you, Kazakhstan, for the beautiful moments. And we'll see if Denmark can bounce back from this as well. I mean, they still grabbed 3 points from this break. But damn, so many teams have 3 points in this group. So this really could be a group of life. We'll see what happens at the end. Beautiful stuff. Now for England versus Ukraine. Could easily see England halted here. I don't want to sleep on Ukraine whatsoever. Really won't be surprised if there's an upset here or a draw. But I'm still going to go for England pulling through and Ukraine struggling a little bit at first. Maybe they can redeem themselves later. But I'm going to say England grab a 3-1 win. I'm sorry, Ukraine, but I'm not too surprised about this. England being the home side, much the better team on paper. Talking about beautiful goals, we even saw one from Saka as well. Leaving the international break with 6 out of 6 points. Good stuff. Now for Liechtenstein versus Iceland. No disrespect to Liechtenstein, but I think this is an easy win for Iceland. I don't know how many goals they'll be able to score, but I'm just going to say it finishes 2-0. Well, I definitely didn't know how many goals they were going to score because they scored 5 more than I predicted. 7 goals for Iceland against Liechtenstein. What a bounce back after they got destroyed by Bosnia. Moving on though to Slovenia versus San Marino. Sorry, San Marino, but Slovenia at home, definitely their chance to shine. Could potentially score loads of goals. I will say they're able to win 4-0. It was just 2-0. San Marino lost both matches, of course, that was expected by everybody. But both times it was a 2-0 defeat. That's not as bad as most people were expecting. Bravo to Slovenia. At the moment, they sit at first in their group due to winning both matches. 6 for 6 points. Let's see if they can keep it up. I predicted this side to qualify for the tournament. I truly hope they do. Either more. Slovakia versus Bosnia. Huge match. I'm torn about this one. I want to go for Bosnia, of course. But I'm not 100% sure Faruk Hadzibegic can have an immaculate start to his qualifier campaign. I don't know. It's either going to be a narrow Bosnia win or a draw. But I'm going to lean towards a draw here. I will go for 1-1. I think many of us, including me, were a bit too confident for Bosnia after they're able to beat Iceland. As yeah, they were the away side in this, but Slovakia got the best of them. Despite playing 5 in the back, Bosnia still conceded twice. And unfortunately, Milicevic looked lost. My initial thoughts were for me to be at least a little bit optimistic for Bosnia and say they'd pull off a draw, but unfortunately, a very back and forth international break here. Now for Northern Ireland versus Finland. Finland probably the favorites here. So many people sleeping on Northern Ireland. Even though they're the home side in this, I still think Finland will pull it through. I think this is Puki's perfect time to shine, and it finishes 2-0 for Finland. Finland really just squeezed through with a very early goal, with them winning 1-0. And like I said, it leaves this group very open, as so many of these sides have 3 points each with 1 win and 1 loss. Now for Luxembourg versus Portugal. I'm saying Portugal are grabbing a win here, but it finishes 3-1. Wow, I always regarded Luxembourg as an underrated nation, so I thought this would be lower scoring than this. 6 goals for Portugal is massive. Scored more against Liechtenstein as well, which means they really seem to be building some of the tactics and momentum. Right now, they're off to a flying start. 10 goals this international break. Can't really ask for more. Also didn't concede any. Shout out to Portugal. Now, though, for Malta versus Italy. Should we give Italy a massive scoreline? I don't know. Maybe they could somewhat struggle to convert. Nah, I'm gonna say they're able to ball out here. I'll go for 7-0. Might be extremely ambitious, but I definitely think Italy have what it takes to go out with a bang here. So it seems like I should have transferred some of those Italy goals for the Portugal match, as yeah, they couldn't get the 7 up. They only scored 2 goals, but that's okay. They still grabbed the win, and I'm very happy to see Malta's putting off some fantastic fights. The ex-Yugo countries facing each other. Montenegro versus Serbia. Montenegro definitely have what it takes to halt Serbia, but I do think Serbia can pull through. I'll say it finishes 2-1 for Serbia. A solid away win for Serbia as Dusan Vlahovic grabbed a late brace. Although I thought Montenegro would score, I'm not necessarily surprised about this scoreline. Netherlands versus Gibraltar. I think it's safe to go for a hefty one here. Should we just absolutely go all out? I'm going to say it finishes 8-0 for Netherlands. Okay, it only finished 3-0, but when you look at the amount of shots Netherlands had, it easily could have been 8-0. 52 shots, 12 on target, 87% possession, Gibraltar with 0 shots, 13% possession, and they got a red card halfway through the match. Now for Poland versus Albania. Prove me wrong, Albania, but I do think Polska have what it takes to have a strong start here. They grab a 2-0 win over Albania. All right, I just got to accept the fact that I'm not going to get any more scorelines correct at this point. But Poland did win the match regardless. They grabbed 1 goal, very narrow fashion of a win. I had a feeling Albania might struggle with Broja injured. Regardless though, it was a very even game and it could have gone either way, but Poland stayed victorious. Very interested to see how Santos does in the next international break, because this one wasn't the most convincing from him. Now for Austria versus Estonia. A lot of people are upset that I was sleeping on Estonia so much. I'll see Estonia make it interesting though, but Austria still win 3-1. Well, Estonia definitely made it interesting, but I thought Austria would score more. Estonia had the lead for quite some time, until Austria get 2 second-half goals, one of them being in the 88th minute as well. That Sabitzer injury definitely halted this side from maybe excelling more, but you definitely got to give Estonia respect because they put off a terrific fight. I don't know, I'm starting to question my placement for them in my overall group standings, as they definitely could top Azerbaijan at this point. Now for Sweden versus Azerbaijan, I think it's going to be a narrow victory once again actually, where they only are able to grab 1 goal and it finishes 1-0. Well, that scoreline was nowhere close. Like I said, Azerbaijan, tad bit disappointing. They lost to Sweden 5-0. This is a massive result for Sweden, of course, because they've really been in poor form. But Azerbaijan have conceded a total of 9 goals. Of course, to some solid teams, but they should be known as a side to kind of put off some better fights at least. What's interesting as well is they had more possession in this match, but Sweden had more opportunities, and they very much took advantage of their opportunities as well. Moving on to Moldova versus Czech Republic. Czech Republic very much need to bounce back if Poland have just beaten them, and I'm saying they do. They win over Moldova 3-0. Now this one was surprising. How the hell does Czech Republic go from beating Poland in terrific fashion to drawing with Moldova? Moldova with 2 draws in this international break, not what I would have predicted whatsoever. Of course, I expect more from this side, but of course, it's also not too late. They're still undefeated. Now for Hungary versus Bulgaria, I'm saying they win 4-1. Well, they did win by 3 goals, but Bulgaria failed to score any in this international break. Massive win though for Hungary. Of course, we see Szoboszlai on the score sheet. They only played 1 match in this international break, but they're making a massive stance with this result. Now for Ireland versus France. Ireland have a lot of exciting young players coming up, as I've mentioned in many videos in the past. I'm going to say we do see some Irish luck here after France grab a massive win against Netherlands. Obviously could be wrong. Pretty much an upset. I mean, it is March after all. Why not? I'll go for a 1-1 draw. Look, I know a lot of my prediction results have not aged well, okay? And of course, France were the favorites here. I slept on so many Giants in this actually. But you know what? I'm not upset about getting this prediction wrong. It easily could have been 1-1. Ireland had some very close opportunities, and Magnan also came absolutely clutch to save France at the end to give them 6 for 6 points at the end of this international break. Sure, I'm a bit sorry that I doubted France in this matchup, but Ireland really put off a fantastic display against the best team in this group, arguably. This golden generation I talked about is surely onto something. I'm very curious to see what happens in the next set of matchups, because sure, they couldn't grab any points at the end, but if they continue to play like this, I really think they can get some solid results here. Maybe they even can upset the Dutch. Best of luck to the Irish. What a joy. Despite just 1 goal in this match, it was a very exciting one. Moving on though to Georgia versus Norway. We haven't gone over Georgia yet in this video. Norway the favorites here, but screw it. Georgia, the home side, they're going to remain confident, at least at the beginning. They're going to be a massive talking point once again, and I'm saying they're able to beat Norway 2-1. They've already recently beaten a Scandinavian team. Why can't they do it again? I thought Georgia could do it at home. but they still put off a decent display grabbing a draw. Obviously the wrong prediction at the beginning, but it could have happened. Norway honestly have been really disappointing this qualifier run so far. Hopeful start for Georgia though. Of course it could have ended better for them, but I think 1 point for now in this very tough group is pretty solid. Now for Wales versus Latvia. I do think Wales have what it takes to win here. I'm saying they grab a 2-0 win. Yup, Wales were only able to score 1 goal and I banked on 2. I knew Latvia would put off a good fight, but it was just too hard to see Wales bottle it at home. Honestly, not the most convincing, but a solid break for Wales at the end of this international break. The fact that they picked up a draw against Croatia, the fact that they got 3 points after that, is a pretty good run. Now they just got to make sure that they can possess and keep that quality against Turkey and Armenia, and they really could be in safe hands to qualify for the tournament. Now for Romania versus Belarus, I think Romania can grab a 2-0 win. For f***'s sake, that scoreline was so close to happening, and Belarus scored an 86th minute goal. But Romania finished off this international break with success, 6 points right behind Switzerland. Moving on to Switzerland versus Israel. Could Israel halt the Giants in this group? It's gonna be tough, but I do see them putting off a decent fight. Regardless, I'm saying Switzerland grab a 2-1 win here. Obviously, always safer to bank on Switzerland in a fixture like this, and Israel didn't even make this close. Switzerland obliterated them 3-0. They were totally dominant in the stats, and Switzerland leave this international window with 8 goals in this qualifier run so far. Obviously, Israel have time to pick themselves back up. They face the toughest opponent in this group without a doubt, but pretty disappointing international window for a nation that really seemed to kind of hype themselves up for this qualifier break, as they did seem to have some promising components. Now for Kosovo versus Andorra, if Kosovo are just falling short to Israel, Kosovo must come out big here, and I think they will. Sorry Andorra, but I'm saying they get slapped twice. I'll say Kosovo are able to grab a 3-0 win. Despite Kosovo looking pretty dominant, they couldn't finish off Andorra. As soon as Zagrova put it in the back of the net, 2 minutes after, Andorra equalized. Kosovo so far are undefeated, but it's not a good sign that they couldn't grab 3 points against Andorra at home. Hopefully Kosovo can learn from their mistakes and get more organized for the next international window. So they're going to have to face Romania next. It's going to be a tougher task. Now for Turkey versus Croatia, very nervous about this because Turkey are extremely unpredictable. I know for a fact Croatia is going to slip at least once or twice in this qualifier campaign. I really hope I'm wrong on that saying, by the way. I do think they'll grab first at the end, but they're the cardiac Croatians for a reason, man. They love to do the job always, but just in the most nerve-wracking fashion for the fans. I am going to say Croatia are a bit halted here. Not massively. It finishes in a draw. I will go for 0-0. Now, obviously, I am very happy I got this prediction wrong. And I got to give myself some credit for getting it wrong, I guess, because I knew Croatia would slip this international break. I just got the matchup wrong. It ended up being against Wales, and I predicted it to be against Turkey. It seemed more reasonable to do so, obviously, because we were the home side against Wales, and Wales were in pretty bad form with some retired players. Seemed like the perfect opportunity to grab 3 points. Looked to be a much tougher fleet against Turkey, who always get incredible support from their fans. So it didn't seem like a good home ground to go to. And to be honest, Croatia made a decent amount of mistakes in that match, especially earlier on. Turkey simply were not able to take advantage of it though. Although Croatia did make those mistakes, they recovered shortly after. And we got to see Kovacic score 2 goals, which is a pretty rare sight. He doesn't always get the goals for the national team. A beauty to see it though. Turkey didn't even necessarily play terribly. So it really could have been closer than this. They just couldn't take advantage of those mistakes Croatia made earlier on. Again, thank God I was wrong. But the last matchup, Scotland versus Spain. Scotland also have a pretty solid home ground, but coming up against Spain will be a very tough fleet. And I will say that they lose. I do think Spain will be victorious here, and I think they will grab a solid 2-0 win against the mighty Scots. Best of luck to Scotland, though. What a nation. Would love to see them prove me wrong in this prediction. And they very much did. Reverse scoreline as well. Scotland grabbed 2 goals. Scott McTominay with 4 goals this international break. What the hell? His confidence is just absolutely boosted after Cyprus let him score 2. Him and Andy Robertson are quite the pair. Of course, Spain dominated in possession. They always do. But it was one of those matches where they just couldn't convert, and Pedro Porro was able to bring the Tottenham DNA to the national team. Crazy how Spain were able to bottle this after demolishing Norway, but this result put Scotland at first. Literally a flying start, 5 goals scored and 0 conceded, and they got one of their fixtures against Spain out of the way as well. They just can't bottle against Norway and Georgia now in the next window. The way they're playing right now though, I think they could handle these guys. Norway very disappointing right now. Obviously, they'll probably have Holland back for the next window. But of course, Scotland fans have every reason to be confident now that they can qualify for Euro 2024. The players just can't lose sight. They got to keep it up. And my prediction for the standings is probably going to age terribly. One for a group where I would be happy to see any of these teams qualify for the tournament though. So truly won't be upset if I'm wrong. Best of luck to Scotland. Like I said in that video, I feel criminal putting any of those teams at 4th place. This is where my quote-unquote upset should have been instead of Sweden versus Belgium. That was my pick, and it happened to be the last match we're looking at, but I went for a decent amount of draws, and when I didn't, it also ended up screwing me over. We had a phenomenal start, 7 out of 8 at the very first day, and it just went downhill from there. But you know what? This is why I love football. Sure, many of you probably got way more than I got right. I mean, I don't know. If you predicted a 0-0 result for Moldova versus Czech Republic after they destroyed Poland 3-1, then fair play to you. Let me know how you guys did. If you're proud of your national team during this window, feel free to be. I mean, you have every reason to, but don't lose sight yet. There's still so many more match days to go. This isn't even close to over. So, best of luck to your national teams in the future. If you had a bad window, also don't lose hope. Things can definitely turn around. Guys, if you haven't already, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. And yeah, if this video does well, I'll do another reaction video for match days 3 and 4. Of course, I'll be doing a prediction for those as well. So yeah, thank you all for making it to the end. I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care. Lá com noite.